Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Yes Japan Daily. This is Yes Japan Daily number 45. That means this episode goes on YouTube and on our iTunes podcast. Please sign up for both. This is number 45. And today's topic is one that I honestly have avoided for my entire life pretty much. I'm very, very anti-formal Japanese. I've never been a fan of it. And only until very recently, while I was working on the new Japanese from Zero book, did I even add a lesson that had any formal Japanese in it. But once I added it, I realized, wow, I actually do use formal Japanese more than I like to admit. And it is a part of everyday Japanese life. So we're going to do a daily on it and look forward to a complete lesson about formal Japanese in the Japanese from Zero book. Alright, so what I've titled this daily is Formal Japanese Tricks. And why are they tricks is, you'll see with the very first one, it feels very tricky to me because this one little simple thing that you can do can make anything sound formal. So we're going to do that. Now, before I get there, I do want to address formality in Japan and why it's not such a big deal. I'm just going to make sure that my fan isn't blowing sound into the mic. Hang on. That should be better. Alright. In Japan, or when you learn Japanese, depending on your teacher, you will learn a lot of, I'm just going to adjust this mic here. You will learn a lot of formal Japanese. Matter of fact, the teachers will expect you to speak very, very polite. I mean, everything is des, mas, ke, form. I almost said ke. It's des, mas, ke. Des, mas form is what you would say. Anyway, I'm sort of against that. I want you to be polite, but in real Japan, once you get to know somebody, you sort of drop the formalities. Does that mean that it's never needed? No, it is needed. It's needed when you're talking to people that you don't know. It's needed to talking to people that are above you. For example, your teacher. And even me personally, Mr. Informal, when I met a Yes Japan student a long time ago, I've talked about this before, met a guy from Mexico. His Japanese is excellent, by the way, now. This guy has passed the Japanese proficiency test, #1, and he knows tons and tons of words, and his Japanese accent is amazing. His name is Adang, and his username is XRules. But when he first met me, his Japanese was really informal, too informal. I mean, the guy had watched me on the shows for however many shows, so he felt like he knew me, so right away he spoke informal to me. I was offended. So that's something to keep in mind. You might offend somebody by being too informal right up front. It's a little bit too much. However, as a foreigner, it won't be anywhere near as offensive if you were Japanese. If you were Japanese, it'd be way more offensive. But as a foreigner, they're not expecting you to know formal. And that's why I sort of don't like to go into the formal. But that being said, I do use it, and it is used, and let's talk about it. First word, this is the trick. In Japanese, in lesson 1 even of our books and on YesJapan.com's courses, you learn desu ka. Just right there, the very first, after we get through the pre-lessons, you learn, for example, inu desu ka? Is it a dog? All you have to do to make something sound polite or formal is add to... Oops, is to say it, instead of desu ka, you say deshou ka. Deshou ka. So that really simple statement of saying inu desu ka, just make it inu deshou ka. Is it perhaps a dog? It makes it, the more uncertain you are in Japanese, the more polite it sounds. You don't want to be very direct in Japanese. So deshou ka sort of does that. Here is an example of using it with a verb. When you use it with a verb, this is the interesting thing, you use the informal version of the verb. So for example, or what we call in Yes Japan the dictionary form, or the casual form, is what it's also referred to. So for example, to go is iku. Okay? So instead of just saying iku deshou ka, which would be wrong, you have to make sure you have a no after the verb. So it's iku no deshou ka. Iku no deshou ka. Are you going? So you could say, for example, something like this. Tokyo ni iku no deshou ka? Are you going to Tokyo? And you will learn later on that there is a more polite way to say iku, but it's not necessary. You can do it with deshouka. All right. Now, some of you watching this, I see there's like a good 15 people watching in the chat room, but maybe you haven't clicked on the Ustream link, which is on the right side, so maybe you don't see anything. Make sure you click that. But that wasn't my point. I think some of you might have noticed that Tokyo is long. It's got the u's in there. To-u, kyo-u. That's because Tokyo is not like you learn in America, Tokyo. It's Tokyo, to-u, kyo-u. All right. So, Tokyo ni iku no deshou ka? Are you going to Tokyo? You can also just add it in any sentence, really. Is this yours? これはあなたのでしょうか? これはあなたのでしょうか? Alright, next. This is only part one of us learning some informal Japanese. I'm going to teach you one verb this time, just one, just so that you get the hang of hearing a new verb. And then I'm going to tell you something really, really interesting that I figured out today while I was working on book 4. Here we go. Osharu. Osharu is the, and by the way, these are called respectful forms. These are the respectful forms. They're not polite or really formal. They are formal, but they're often referred to as respectful forms because it's what you say when you want to respect somebody. And osharu is the replacement for the verb iu, to say. For example, you could say, "Nan to iimashita ka?" What did you say? You could say, actually, you wouldn't do it there. But this is normally when you're talking about someone else. You would use this osharu to replace iu. Okay? What's really common with this osharu verb, though, is if you look up osharu in Google, almost every single example will not be just the osharu verb. It will always be combined with tori. Osharu tori. It's as you have said, which means exactly. Exactly. Osharu tori desu. You could also say sono tori to mean exactly, but osharu tori means it's exactly as if you as you stated. Osharu tori. Now you could say this in a more informal way. Anata no itta tori, or iu tori. Osharu tori, oshatta tori. Now here's what I learned today. Blew my mind. It just really blew my mind, because I've been teaching Japanese now for over, I think, 12 years. Yeah. And I've been speaking it since I was around 17ish is when I really officially think I got good enough to say I was speaking Japanese. So it's been 22 years, almost 23 years that I was speaking Japanese, and I never realized there's another verb form out there that doesn't match all the patterns that we teach on YesJapan. We do not teach what I'm getting ready to teach you on YesJapan. Not yet. It will be in book 4, and then eventually it will hit a YesJapan update. But what it is the verb osharu does not conjugate like a regular verb or like an iru-eru verb. It's not any of those. Now, we have 4 types of verbs that we talk about on YesJapan. Iru-eru, that's any verb that ends in an iru-eru rhyming sound, like taberu rhymes with eru, therefore it is iru-eru. Miru rhymes with iru, therefore it is iru-eru. Okay, there are iru-eru exception verbs, which are verbs that end in iru-eru, but they follow the regular form, which is the other verb, regular verbs. These are almost every verb is a regular verb. Then you've got a subset of verbs that are these iru-eru. That's the second most common. And then you've got very, very, like maybe 20 max iru-eru exception verbs. And then you've got 2, or what we on YesJapan say 3, irregular verbs which don't follow the patterns exactly or at all. And that's suru, to do, kuru, to come, and aru, which no book calls irregular but us, because it doesn't follow the patterns that we have set forward. And we explain in our book why we call it irregular. But arimasu doesn't go to when you go to informal, it goes to nai. But if it was regular, it would have to go to anai or awanai, but it doesn't. So it's not awanai actually. Anai is what it would have to go to, but it doesn't. Okay, so we don't count that one. Or actually, let me think about that for a second. It would be actually, I'm sorry, it would be aranai. Aranai. If you follow the regular form, the regular verb pattern, it would go to aranai, but it doesn't. It goes directly to nai. Therefore, we classify it as irregular. Now, osharu isn't any of those. I have no name for it. I have never looked it up. Maybe those of you guys in the chat room who are scholars in Japanese might know that there's a type of verb for this, but I'm going to call it the sharu verb form. Sharu. I have no other name for it, or the formal form. I don't know what else to call it. But when you translate, sorry, I don't even have it. When you say this into the must form, the ru changes into an e, and it's oshaimasu. Oshaimasu. It's really just like the verb ended in an u. That's really what it is. So oshaimasu or oshaimashita. Oshaimashita. Nani oshaimashita ka? What did you say? So there you go. That is one formal verb and one trick to sound a little bit more formal in Japanese. When we do part 2 of this, we'll learn some more verbs and we'll learn some other techniques to sound more formal than you should. But remember, you don't have to sound super formal. You're a foreigner. You don't have to follow all of the rules, and it's not expected. All right, now we're going to get to the fun part of the show. This is where we do a jiko shokai. All right, right here, self-introduction. And what this is you lovely people in the chat room, you YesJapan members, have submitted to me in a private message on YesJapan.com your humble and short introduction. But today we're going to have a long one, because this is the very, very first one from YesJapan member Caleb Zero. He was the very first one that submitted, and I sat on it for a long time. And then as other introductions piled up, they were very short and easy for me to get to. This one, however, is long. So we're going to do it right now. And I might not be able to get super in depth, but I'll talk about some of the grammars as he goes through it. And I'm not going to do the standard playing it all the way through first, because it's about 3 minutes exactly. And I certainly don't want to play that and then analyze it from there. So we'll analyze it as we go. Here we go. This is Caleb Zero's very, very long but very informative introduction video.
YesJapan の皆さん、こんにちは。テモシです。それともなんか Caleb Zero というユーザーですね。26歳。
Alright. I don't know what his name is. As usual, I understood the Caleb Zero part, but man, I got to hear that again, because you know, you might want to slow down when you say your name, especially if it's not a name that Japanese people are used to. For example, Georgie, that's every Japanese person knows that name because, number one, of George Bush and George Washington. And also, Georgie itself is a Japanese name. Tokoro Georgie, Abe Georgie, these are famous Japanese people that they all know. So, let's hear it again.
YesJapan の皆さん、こんにちは。テモシです。
Does anyone know what he just said? Can anyone tell me in the chat room? I do not know his name. Let's try it again.
YesJapan の皆さん、こんにちは。テモシです。
Temoshi is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like Temoshi. I'm going to do something that we've never done before. Here we go. Actually, I was going to try to slow it down. There is no easy way to slow it down. We're not going to do it. Oh!
YesJapan の皆さん、こんにちは。テモシです。
Timoshi! You guys are better than me. Very, very good. Thank you. Timoshi. Timothy. Very, very good. Okay, wow. Okay, let's go a little bit further, because I already have one thing I want to talk about.
YesJapan の皆さん、こんにちは。テモシです。それともなんか Caleb Zero というユーザーですね。
それともなんか Caleb Zero というユーザーですね。It's advanced Japanese. それとも or なんか. Not sure why he has the nanka there. Not necessary. But what that nanka does, it's sort of a pause word. It means something. It means literally something. Nanka. It's like. It's almost like saying it's like in Japanese. You'll also hear teyuka. You know, you'll hear things like that. Teyuka. Nanka. It's like, but I don't know if it was necessary there. I probably wouldn't have put it there. But he's nervous. And by the way, look at the background. Looks like he's in Japan. He's not. He's in Canada. He tricked me.
26歳。
Now, problem right there. 26歳. He needs to say des. You don't want to just end it and say 26 years. You're literally just saying that. 26-year-old. What about it? Adding that des makes you say, I am. And I would like to hear that. It's going to sound more natural. I'm very, very, very guilty of that mistake.
7年間ぐらい日本語を勉強してるけども、
7年間日本語を勉強してるんだけども、Say it again.
7年間ぐらい日本語を勉強してるけども、
してるけども. By the way, his accent's really good here. I really like it. And you could tell that he knows a lot of advanced concepts. Really, really good. He's been studying Japanese for 7 years. Now, this is more of a personal preference. I probably would have said 7年間. That's just me. You could say 7年.
まだまだちゃんと伝えたいことを表現できなくて、もっと上達したいと思いますけど、
まだまだ. I think he said 伝えたいことが. Hang on, let's listen again.
まだまだちゃんと伝えたいことを表現できなくて、もっと
伝えたいこと表現できなくて、
もっと上達したいと思いますけど、
もっと上達したい. So he says, I can't say the things that I would like to express. 伝えたいこと and I would like to improve. 上達したい. He's
まだまだちゃんと伝えたいことを表現できなくて、もっと上達したいと思いますけど、
I really like this because he's being humble. You know, when you're introducing yourself to people, it's nice to be humble. Don't be bragging about how awesome you are. Japanese is a very humble society. We want to kind of maintain that. You can change to your jerky American self or, you know, really proud English self after you get to know them. In the intro, you want to be nice. Have a good first impression.
今日は頑張ります。
今日は頑張ります. I'll do my best today.
自己紹介なんて僕にとってちょっとつまらないと思いますから、
Because I think my self-introduction will be boring,
今日は多分なんかどうやって日本語を勉強すればいいかについて話したいと思います。
very nice. So, instead of doing his jigo shokai, he's gonna tell you how you should study some Japanese. He's gonna give you some hints, some pointers. I like this. Let's see what. Actually, I haven't listened to this in a while, so I don't remember where he's gonna go with it. Let's see.
だから、頑張ります。日本語を勉強し始めた時、なんかよく YesJapan.com 使っていて、本当に素晴らしいサイトだと思います。
Alright, well, thank you for the compliment. I want to talk about one verb form that he used here that's really, really powerful. He said, し始めた. He said when he started YesJapan, when he began to use し始める. You take the mus off of a verb, the mus form, and make 始める. And then you have a whole new verb, 食べ始める, to begin to eat. From that point, what is 始める? It's an iru eru verb. So remember the rule. Iru eru, drop the ru. Drop the ru, add your stem. 食べ始めました. I began to eat. See how that works? So it's a very, very advanced form. I love it. I love those, what I like to call combo verbs, where they kind of melt two verbs together.
よくなんか基本的な文法とか大事な単語とか勉強することできて本当に良かったんです。
All right. He said he learned, you know, the basics and some really good grammar on it. It's nice. He's being nice. Here's the thing. I know that you guys are not just using YesJapan. I understand that. There are a plethora of really awesome resources. Despite the fact that in our chat room, Japanese Pod 101 is actually the only curse word that gets blocked out. I welcome you all to type Japanese Pod 101. I'm not sure if the settings have carried over into the new version of the chat room that we put in. But that will show up as star, 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 star. It's the only bad word in our room. Yes. There, it's... You could type the F word or S word or any of those bad words and they will show up. But Japanese Pod 101 will not show up. Despite that, they are actually a good resource. My big pet peeve with them is that they spam the hell out of you. And their marketing is kindergarten. That's how I feel. Not that we market really well on YesJapan. My point is their marketing is overly aggressive and it's so fake. It makes me want to throw up. Other than that, they've got some good resources. All right. By the way, I kept this special plan secret from you. It's only you. You're the only one that's getting this special plan. If you join today, that's the type of things that they send to you. I joined it for their Korean class. 101, I think, is the name of the website. And that alone made me not go to that website anymore. It really upset me. So if you're listening to Japanese Pod 101, you guys have a great thing. Why don't you let us opt out of the tremendous amount of spam that you send. Okay? Because you guys have an amazing resource. And I think everyone on YesJapan and anyone watching this on YouTube could use it. Alright, let's continue. We've got another 2 minutes to go.
でも初めて日本に行った時すぐに気がついたんですね。実際にあまり日本人と話すことできなかったんですね。今ちょっとできるけど。
This is true. You know, you study a lot of Japanese, but if you're not speaking with Japanese people, the first time you go to Japan, well, you're going to be shocked. You're not going to be able to say anything to anybody. And there's a lot of reasons for this. One is the things that you're studying are not exactly advanced. When I teach Japanese classes, there are a lot of concepts that I don't think shouldn't be taught, and we don't teach them on purpose. Because these concepts cannot be taught. You can sure you can go through the theory of them and you can go through some examples, but until you actually get a certain level of Japanese, you're not going to grasp it well enough to remember it anyway. For example, the whole wa and ga thing. I mean, sure, we teach some rules on wa and ga, but really the way you learn wa and ga is you just know how to use it. Ask any Japanese person when to use wa and ga, and they don't know. They just know sounds natural here or there. You know, you can learn that there's certain times to stress with a wa versus a ga. You can learn the simple rule that you never use wa directly after a question word. Like, for example, you don't say dare wa or nani wa. It has to be ga for both of those. You learn those rules. But really, can I teach you everything so that you're awesome when you go to Japan? No. Can I teach you anything past hajimemashite, George to moshimasu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu? I don't know what's coming next. The very next thing could be something very, very foreign. And no book on the planet can guarantee you that this will be the next thing that comes up. So, when you get to Japan, you're going to have a lot of initial conversations where you get stuck right away. The other reason that happens is because your brain doesn't have that equation yet. You haven't done it enough. You know, one thing I realized as a tour guide, when I did a lot of tour guide work, is that, man, did I get good at those initial conversations. Because I had them every day, 3 or 4 times. You know, but initially, especially if you meet someone like when they opened up the Kansai airport and all of these people from the Osaka area came in, well, I certainly wasn't ready for Kansai dialect at that point. My wife is from Kansai, but I wasn't married yet. So, and there like, "Sore de en chao." I'm like, "Sore de en chao?" I don't know, what does that mean? Right? It means "sore de in janai desu ka?" They say "chao" instead of "chigao." So anyway, yeah, don't be surprised if you go to Japan. Matter of fact, expect it. Just keep track of what happens and you'll learn. You'll keep getting better and better and better.
でもなんでかあまり分からなかったんですね。今分かる。日本語を勉強したら本当に練習は大事なんですよ。
He said it. 練習は大事なんですよ. I can imagine him on TV. He's got one of those. He's got a face that I could imagine seeing on TV. And his Japanese is good enough to where I could see him being on TV. And man, would his Japanese really accelerate being on TV.
本当になんか
He loves the nanka word. He loves nanka. So do I.
人と話せば話すほど上手になる。
人と話すと話すほど上手になる. Wow. Wow. Listen again.
人と話せば話すほど。
Okay. 話せば話すほど. Eba hodo. Oh, I love it. Okay. What that is the more you speak to people,
人と話せば話すほど。
If you speak to people, the more you speak to people,
上手になる。
You will get more skilled. You will get skilled. You can use this format, this phrasing, 食べれば食べるほど. It literally means the more I eat. But the more I eat of it, the more I like it. 好きになる. This is really, really great. Let's listen one more time. Love this grammar. He's got a lot of advanced grammar in his speaking.
人と話せば話すほど上手になる。それは本当に信じます。
本当に信じます。I believe that. Well, it's exactly true.
だからもし私みたいになんか日本人がいない町に住んでいる人だったらどうやって勉強すればいいでしょうか?
Great. He's gonna tell us now. What do you do? And you guys have all expressed this problem. How do you practice in a town where there are no Japanese people? or there's not a lot of Japanese people. I want to get back to one thing that he said though. Hanaseba hanasu hodo, right? The more that you speak to somebody, the better you get. This is so true. So when you go to Japan, or I actually just said this to the Japanese guys today. In my, I'm translating at Varian Medical, and there's 2 Japanese guys, and one guy really wants to speak English, and I told him, please be an idiot. Say crazy things all the time. Don't ever worry about how bad you sound. Just say it. If you worry about your structure or if the word's wrong, you'll never get good, because you know who gets good in Japanese? The idiots. The people who are Science 2D. Did you see his introduction in the other daily? That guy's going to get good because he's a total idiot. And he's funny. And by idiot, I mean he doesn't overthink things too much. You don't want to overthink. Now, there are people who are extremely intelligent, of course, and are idiots. But then there are also the extremely intelligent people who analyze and study a lot. And there are those people who get good too. Obviously, there are both camps. But I am on the idiot camp. So I'm going to be biased towards the idiots. And the most people that I see that got really good in Japanese are the guys that are just talking to everybody. They talk to anybody, anytime. They're not scared. Because you know what? There are 130 million Japanese people. And you can go through 1 million of them and still make a lot of friends.
そのためになんか2つの好きなサイトを紹介したいと思います。
He's going to introduce you to 2 websites.
1つ目のは Shared Talk というサイトですね。
Shared Talk. Never been there.
Shared Talk というサイトはなんかいろいろな言語を勉強している人が集まってて、お互いを手伝ったり、チャットしたり話したりしてるサイトがですね。
Wow. That grammar, I believe, is in course 4. Tari, tari, tari. Okay? It's the tari verb form. Let's go back and listen. It's a representative list of things that are done. For example, you can say, today I ate, I shopped, tabetari, kaimono shitari, and then you end with shimashita. Let's listen to his 3 verbs right in a row on what you can do on Shared Talk.
なんかいろいろな言語を勉強している人が集まってて、お互いを手伝ったり、
お互い手伝ったり、helping out each other, things like helping out each other.
チャットしたり
チャットしたり
話したりして、
話したり they chat, they talk, they help each other out.
してるサイトが
He screwed up there. He went to Shiteru Saito. He wanted to say it's a site that does these things. And then he cleaned it up though with a nice desu ne, which is great. Because I screw up in English all the time and I do the same thing. I clean up the sentence as best as I can and I move on.
ですね。本当になんかそのサイトでいろいろ日本人と話すことできる。
We are going to do this. We are going to do a Shared Talk coming up on one of the dailies. We're going to go through it. I'll put it up on the screen and we'll record everything that we're doing. And let's see how effective it is. And I'll go in speaking heta no Nihongo. I'll be like, Hajimemashite, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And we'll see what we can learn. And I'll ask questions and we'll see. That's going to be a fun daily coming up. And I challenge you to all try it out too. Take Timoshi's advice.
2つ目のサイトは、シェアツワークはね、一つの問題がある。なんか時差がある。僕の国と日本と時差があるからたまにできないですね。
There's one problem with Shared Talk. It's jisa. Jisa means time lag. There's a time difference. So this is true, but I mean, look, we're all chatting right now at 3 a.m. in the morning. And in Japan, I don't have Japan clock on this. It's not 3 a.m. in the morning.
だから2つ目のサイト
7 in the evening.
2つ目のサイトのはlang8.com というサイトですね。
2つ目のサイトは lang8.com. By the way, what he's doing with the 1つ目 and 2つ目, the me counter gets added, the me addendum, I don't know what to call it, it's added to any counter, it gives it a rank. The first site, the second site, the third site. So let's say you want to say, my third girlfriend. Well, you say 3 people, 3人 and add me. 3人目. Third. Now it's your third. And then you can connect it. 3人目の彼女。1つ目のコーラ. My first cola. 1本目のビール. My first beer. See how that works? Any counter, add a me. Thank you, Timothy, for teaching us.
LINE 8で日本語でブログとか日記とか書いたりして、そして日本語でそして本物の日本人に日本語の間違いを直してくれる。
Very nice. So apparently on LINE 8, you can write blog posts and real Japanese people, 本物の日本人, as opposed to the 偽物の日本人, the fake Japanese people, they will come in, great advice, and they will help you out. They will correct your Japanese. I love that. Because that's in a sense making the same mistakes you would make speaking. I'm a bigger fan of the shared talk idea where you're actually talking to people. I would like that. But LINE 8 would help you with your written Japanese.
そしてその人の英語のブログの英語の間違いを直してあげることもできる。
And then you in return can help them with their English blogs. And I think this is a nice way to make friends though, for sure. And once you make friends on these type of websites, if you're going to go to Japan, tell them you're going. They will want to meet you if you've become friends. They're not afraid to meet you. And most often you can stay with them. Say, I need a place to stay. Can I stay? Don't be afraid to ask that sort of thing. Number one, even if it's not a common thing to say in Japanese culture, let's chalk it off to, oh, I guess people from Scotland, they just ask right out. And they'll think it's part of the culture if they don't know. Oh, I guess that's the way Americans do things. This is sort of a double-edged sword. I'm not happy when Japanese people say that, but the reality is you can use it to your advantage. Yeah, that's just the way we are in America. Matter of fact, I was a tour guide, and as a tour guide, me and my friend Jeremy, we would hit on the girls, and we would ask them to go out on dates with us, or we would take them on a free tour type of thing. And I had just gotten back with these two girls from Death Valley. And it was only two girls, and the company had rented a Cadillac. So we're in a Cadillac the entire day. And I'm in the front. One of the girls is in the front, and the other girl moves to the back because we have this double date thing set up. And Jeremy gets in the car and makes it extremely awkward for me. Because the minute he got in the car, he French kissed the girl. He just went, I don't know if he tongued her or not, but it certainly looked like there was some tongue. I mean, and then he said, これはアメリカの挨拶の仕方です. This is the way we greet people in America. And I'm up front. I haven't made any moves. What am I going to do at this point? I didn't do anything. I wimped out. But man, that guy had extreme balls. Okay, so I don't recommend you do that. Could be like some sort of sexual harassment. Make sure the girl maybe likes you. But of course, he'd never met I swear he never met the girl. He just walked right into it. All right, let's go.
そしてもしかして日本人の友達もできるかもしれない。まあそれは以上。本当によろしくお願いします。バイバイ。
Oh, you know what? We're already at the. Well, you know what? That's a lot shorter than I thought. It was 3 minutes, but he's already done. That was his advice. Thank you, Timothy. It's really refreshing to get advice like that. But I don't know anything about you except for you're 26. I don't even know. Did he say he was in Canada? I don't know. Anyway, listen, for those of you who would like to say hello to everybody on YesJapan, please submit to me in a private message. Upload your introduction to Mediafire or one of those websites. Send it to me, and we'll go ahead and analyze it here. And you know what? If you have advice, I'd like to hear it. Matter of fact, why don't we make this... why don't you tell us what you do to learn Japanese? Please keep it under a minute if you can, because then I can do more than one in a day. After this daily, we're going to be meeting up in the YesJapan chat room to answer your questions about Japanese on Ask a Teacher Live number 25. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.